What's up, everyone? Welcome to another live stream. Happy Sunday. How is everyone doing? So welcome to another weekly market analysis. So it's another opportunity for us to analyze the market together. So let's take a look into it. We are already close to the end of March. So basically the first quarter of 2025 is 1 week away. Basically we are time flies. So let's take a look into it. Last week it was an interesting week. We had many central bankers. We had the Fed, BOJ, also Bank of England and Swiss National Bank. All of them announcing interest rates. All of them doing exactly what the market was expecting. So we can start with that. We can start by taking a look into what happened last week in terms of the news and what does that mean to the market, and how the market is actually reacting to that, and what can we take in terms of predicting to the future any market behavior. Basically, if you are new, feel free to subscribe. Welcome to the channel as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what pairs you want us to analyze together. Basically, I look at the FX. So any major FX pairs, we're going to look at them. Also starting, of course, with the dollar index, which is basically one of the main assets to take a look. Also in regards to other assets, because of the correlation that goes into it. Then we also look at the US indices, S&P, Nasdaq, Dow a little bit, and then DAX. And then we also take a look slightly at crypto to see what's going on in there. This weekend it's been a little bit more to the upside. And also commodities with oil, gold and silver. So that's basically what you're going to be looking at. So feel free to share in the comments. It's going to be more of a weekly or higher time frame analysis to predict what we can expect for next week. So looking at the market, in terms of news for this week, we're going to start already with some volatility on Monday. So we're going to have services and manufacturing PMI in the Eurozone, starting in France, Germany, and the UK, and then finishing in the US. And it's going to be interesting to see if the state of the economy is actually improving. Recently, the data has been slightly better in the Eurozone, in Germany as well. At least the manufacturing, for example, is no longer at 40s or 41. It's already closing to 46. And who knows if that the expectation now is to 47. So it's getting closer to the 50 mark, which is start to show a little bit of a healthy economy in Germany, also with the change of parties that there was in there, also some agreements of maybe 500 billion bill that was approved or something like that they're going to get access to also invest into in Germany. So that's going to be interesting. And then in the UK as well, as you can see, it's slightly getting better as well, especially with manufacturing, and also in the US as well, manufacturing services continues to be above 50. So as long as it remains like this, it's actually good for everyone, and it can demonstrate some strength in the economy, and maybe some of the risk on assets can move to the upside with that. Tuesday is going to be quieter. And then on Wednesday we have the CPI both in Australia and also in the UK, which is of course CPI at this point is going to be the key factor to look at in terms of then the central bankers to decide if they want to cut or maintain the interest rate. Also, this is going to be an important one. So we're going to have kind of an update on the budget reviews in the UK. So usually there is the autumn budget, and also in March usually there is an update basically. So 6 months after or 5 months after, there is an update in here. So that's what you're going to have. We'll see what kind of measures. I haven't really read too much into it. Even though I live in UK, maybe I should be aware of it, but I haven't really read too much into it, so I'm not really sure what measures are they going to implement. For sure something. And then in the US on Thursday, we're going to have GDP in the US, So there you go, expected to be at around 2.4%. Basically, this is the final reading of the GDP. As you know, we have usually 3 readings. The first one is advanced, and the preliminary, and then the final one. There shouldn't be any really big changes on the final one, because this is after everything is calculated, and this is still regards towards to the Q4 of last year. So yeah, let's see if that sustains high as it is. And then when are you going to have the core PC? Okay, core PC is going to be on Friday. And that's it. That's basically the end of the month. We're going to have 31st, the Monday after that. There's not exactly going to be the last day of the month, but basically the end. We're really close to it. It's also going to be the end of the quarter. Last week, as I mentioned, it was in terms of the interest rates. So we had BOG keeping the rates unchanged. We had Fed also keeping the rates unchanged. But what mattered in here, it was more of the economic projections from the Fed. And basically, it was quite dovish, the approach from Jerome Powell. That's something that sometimes happens, and something that he does as well. So when the market, as we saw in the last 3 weeks, basically the market has been quite bearish, with the S&P dropping 10%, Nasdaq dropping 14%. So usually when the market is quite bearish like it was, then the Fed comes here and it kind of gives some positivism on this pitch. So basically, if the water is too hot, the Fed comes here and puts some ice on it. If the water is too cold, the Fed comes here and puts some hot water on it, just to calm down a little bit the market. That's basically what they did. So it didn't really care too much about the inflation at this point. It didn't show any big concerns in terms of how many rate cuts we're going to have until the end of the year, because it was the key point in here. Looking for around 2 rate cuts. That's basically where the medium was from all the members of the Fed. Looking at this point in the market, we're already looking actually a potential 3 cuts until the end of the year. Okay, so basically 34% this point for the rate to finish at around between 3.5 to 3.75. That's kind of a 3 rate cuts that we are looking at in here. As you can see, it starts to increase comparing with 1 week ago, and if you compare even 1 month ago, basically you're looking going for 2 rates. Now we are getting into 3 rates. Bank of England remained the same at around the 4.5% as well, and Swiss National Bank basically reducing. So let's take a look into the market. Enough with the fundamentals and the news. So we know that tomorrow we're going to have quite a volatile day, which is going to be interesting. Looking at the dollar index, nothing really changing here. So everything remains the same based on what we looked at from last week. Basically, what we have, the information we have in here is that price actually managed to break below this structure, okay, broke below this low, and they're looking for price to go further down. So we have that perspective. Okay, so a little bit more bigger picture, still looking for the dollar eventually to continue to move forward. But this is a great place, as we described as well, that we could start seeing some bullishness, or at least some strength in here. Or some reaction from the buyers around this level. We had already a break of a high in here and another break of a high in here, and then we kind of had, we had this high in here also being broken during the news. Okay, price was actually reacting richly from this supply, so it reacted perfectly from it, but it's another break, and then it ended up respecting this level. So it was around here, this was actually the key level to actually then start looking for long. So this was the day of the Fed, so basically price was around this level when just before the Fed, then we had the impulse to downside, but then overnight price respecting this level basically starts showing the bullishness. Then we had another break, and then eventually I'm looking for price eventually now to break above this structure in here, which was already something that we're looking for, something that we were also looking for comparing with the beginning of the week, where we weren't, that didn't happen last week, because actually finally we had the break of this low. So initially price had respected this double bottom, but now we actually had a small fake out in here, which actually triggered then new set of orders into the market and start pushing the market to the upside. As I mentioned several times, what I'm looking for is to see how price may react around this level. So I want price to go all the way kind of to break above this level, and then I'm going to be curious to see if this is actually something to look for as momentum, and potential price can get into this next level somewhere around here, or if price actually is going to just find something and start looking to move to downside again and eventually follow through with the prediction that I have, or with my overall direction, which is still a little bit more of a bearish bias in here on on the dollar index. When you're looking at the daily candles, for example, you saw that big sell-off that happened around the beginning of March, but then as you can see here, for the last basically 10 days, almost 2 weeks, or slightly more than that, we have been literally within this structure. So tomorrow, with the manufacturing service PMI straight away from the London Open, we're going to have definitely some volatility, and I'll be surprised if we do have a move to the upside in here on the dollar index. So that's what I'm going to be looking at a little bit. So just to make it one more time, overall bearish a little bit more in the bigger picture, but overall in the smaller time frame, I was bullish this week, and I'm continuing to be perhaps bullish for price to break above this level and to see how it's going to react from here, or if price eventually wants to go even higher into the next level. So that's going to be something to pay attention to. It's too early to decide in here if or how eventually price is going to create a potential bearish scenario or push to the downside. Wait, it's not exactly what I want. On the Dell. So that's what I'm going to be looking for in here on the dollar index, which is quite similar with the dollar. So basically, what I was looking for this week was that I saw the move. Right, I saw there was a space in here to fill. As you've seen a bit on euro dollar and the pound dollar, there was literally a clear move in there that we could anticipate, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So yeah, that's basically what I was looking for. Price basically is filling that space, so it already filled. So I'm curious to see what may happen now. What new opportunities you're going to have this week. Looking at US indices, so that's another one which is quite interesting. Last week, if you guys recall, I did talk about the divergence between the S&P and the Nasdaq, in particular to where actually price and the lows are reacting from here on the left side. So Nasdaq or S&P in this case basically already reacting really close, or already reacted from that level, and Nasdaq nowhere near close to that zone. Okay, so there's a little bit of a big gap in here, so we can potentially take advantage of it. Meanwhile, we start seeing a little bit of bullishness. Okay, so that was something that we are also looking for. 1 second. So what we had was exactly, as you could see, like we already mentioned that part last week, that we were looking for price potentially to continue to push to the upside. What day was it? It was 14. Okay, this was basically our price. This is like literally our price open last week. So we then continue, and we respected already the break of this high, and then price just continue reacting a little bit from something around this level. That's basically where this low initially reacted. But then you kept respecting this low in here, and then you had to push to the upside. This could have been kind of a good, interesting long to look for as a continuation here. Just a slightly difference on the price tag in here, where we can see on TradingView and then the other servers, which was a bit tricky. But overall, the bullishness in here on S&P with the potential move a little bit more to the upside. Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised with that. Then during the FOMC, we had another push higher, so that was something that we were looking for, eventually for price to actually confirm to look for this. And a potential move now that I'm going to be looking for, or something that I would actually perhaps look for a potential long is if price comes back into, or getting closer into this level. Basically, if it fakes out this structure in here, so that will be something that I'll be considering as a long. Price actually respected this level in here last Friday and then start pushing to the upside. It also respected this level in here on Thursday. So there's definitely a few levels in here that price can go towards to. Yeah, I could see price going definitely a little bit more to the upside from here. This is maybe where price is reacting exactly. So we had this demand zone that basically price respected a little bit, not that much in our work structure. It moved down and now is reacting in here on the right side. So that's basically where those highs reacted overall, but price never really got into this level in here. So it can go again. I'm kind of a bit more bullish, so I could see eventually S&P move a little bit more to the upside, but I'll definitely be quite eager to book potential longs, the price actually starts moving a little bit more to the downside. Even if it's not from here, then can be a little bit lower into the next level. Am I going to be looking for shorts in here? Not exactly. I'll be potentially looking for some move to downside. The price perhaps get a little bit closer into this next level. So around here, I'm not going to be looking for any short, sorry, at this point. Yeah, Nasdaq. Quite similar as well, kind of breaking a little bit the high, broke that high as well. The main difference in here on Nasdaq is that we never really managed to fake out this low in here. That it looks like there's still a lot of liquidity potentially around or below or underneath those lows within this gap in here. So that's definitely something that I'll be paying attention. But for now, it looks like price respected this level again. We continue to have small breaks to the upside in here, which eventually can lead into a bigger move in here. So yes, I'll definitely not be looking for shorts around this level. If I'm looking for shorts, it's going to be higher than where we are right now. And for longs, I'll not be looking for longs in here neither. I want to see price kind of going a little bit more to the downside, faking out these lows in here before aiming for any long. So it's one of those tricky ones at this point. It's more a little bit on the sidelines, waiting to see what eventually Nasdaq may do around this level. For sure, intraday, you do have opportunities. You have the price movements in here. You have price maybe breaking some structure, retracing, respecting the level, and then going. So for sure, in the intraday, you can potentially find something, and for sure, there are opportunities. But it's not really something that I am that interested at this point in looking to trade. So yeah, at least above these highs or kind of below these lows, that's kind of my area. Dow is also, Dow, it was perfect actually. There you go. So this was a level that we were looking for. Even last week we mentioned I didn't trade this one. Okay, this was kind of the potential trade that was there, but I forgot to set up my alerts, which means that when price did go there, I was not, I didn't revise it, and then price reacted really nicely from the zone. Okay, but that was basically a little bit of the trade that I would like to have seen happening, and there you go. So that's the move we had. So again, price respecting really nicely. It went down, reacting a little bit from this zone, good reaction, and then we had this literally level of supply in here that was still fresh, and that's where price ended up now reacting from here. So let's see, potentially there could be more bullish or potential sell opportunities at around this level again. So I wouldn't really disregard completely price to respect again this level. Maybe there are something in there. We do have this left shoulder, even though there's maybe a few spikes in here the way price moved to downside. So that's something to pay attention to, even though Dow is not really something that I trade that often. But sometimes, yes, there are those opportunities. And I wish I actually had placed my setup, my alert in there, because there was actually a good price section inside here for a short. But now it's more of waiting time to see what opportunities are going to still be at around this level. And maybe the break of this, maybe this move to downside may actually indicate that price it does want to continue to push. Yeah, to push forward, sorry. So that's something to pay attention to. On the DAX, yeah, price also reacting really nicely, moving to downside from here. It just fake out slightly that high. To be honest, I was looking for price to go slightly higher, but maybe after that break in here, there could be an opportunity. Again, kind of price turn overnight. There's been a thing this week. Many of the moves happened slightly during the Asian session and not exactly during the London session, talking even about the highs on the pound and the euro as well, especially after the FOMC. Just a couple of trades in there that fortunately didn't manage to catch because, well, it happened overnight. As you see, that's exactly what we're looking for on the pound, as I'll show it in a bit. Now DAX reacting from this demand zone, so that's definitely a valid level in here, and price potential can continue or can turn completely and can actually challenge again these highs in here, even can take the top. Or it's going to just find new selling opportunities or selling pressure at around this level and potentially continue to now push to the downside. So that will be something to pay attention in here. There's definitely this level in here that's already kind of broke this previous low, even though we are still within this kind of range in here. So even though we do have a break of a low in here, perhaps maybe not a proper break of structure. Maybe this break of this low, it will be a bit more of that break of structure in here, but it is something to pay attention. It shows that the bearish, the sellers are starting to be involved in here and kind of gaining some control. And you can see even the way price kind of just fake out the highs and then kind of found selling pressure straight away. You can start seeing that the sellers are active at around these price tags. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what may happen at around this level in here. And then you have also 5100. This was more of the move that I was looking for, even though the pattern that I'm looking for actually occurred within this level. Price still respected the top, but I was looking for price actually to fake out this destruction here into this next level. Never happened, at least so far. So we'll see. We're going to continue to wait, but price could definitely from here maybe just continue to push lower and maybe target his walls again. So yeah, something to keep an eye on. Okay, looking at Bitcoin, so we had finally a little bit of a break to the upside in here. So this is something that we mentioned, looking for price actually to potentially break this basically structure here, this supply level. So we did manage to get that. So potentially can be a little bit more of bullishness moving here on BTC, and our price basically maybe finding some, I don't know, whatever it is in here. I would like to see price maybe going a little bit lower. Maybe we can find a new selling opportunity in here. I'm not really interested in looking for sales at this point from where price is, but I'm looking to look for potential longs if price actually gets a little bit closer to this structure in here. Now that we managed to break this top, potentially we can have a move further up. So I'm curious to see how price may react from here, but definitely maybe in here can also be some selling pressure as well. But it's not exactly something that I want to see. Price already broke some structure, so I may not really, yeah, I don't really like to look for. Sorry, I'm not really interested in looking for many shorts at this point in here. By shorts, I'll be looking more a little bit higher. But it's interesting that we're starting to see a little bit of a reaction of risk on assets, not just Bitcoin, but also the indices. So after basically 3 weeks just moving to downside, it's starting to show a little bit of reaction, which again, the low may not be in place yet. So this can be just a local low. Price can even continue to push lower. Definitely, actually like the level itself. We're looking at Ethereum also getting a little bit closer to this level in here, so still respecting. As long as it kind of continues to respect this level, potentially can continue to move a little bit lower, even though again Ethereum, it looks like that maybe price could have reached one of the targets literally, which is basically the edge of this compression. But I would definitely still prefer to see Ethereum going a little bit lower into that level. So yeah, we'll see how price may react around here. Definitely still kind of like the zone to look for. Yeah, it could definitely go. Yeah, it could definitely do something maybe like that. This demand zone basically is already reacted from. So yeah, quite curious to see how price may react from around this level. And then Solana as well, which is again retesting one more time this level, so it's starting to create a really strong level of resistance around here. With like one supply, another supply in here, basically another supply being created after price went there. Basically, this is the one, and eventually if it breaks, it can start getting some momentum to the upside. This was a great reaction from here, to be honest, great Quasimodo. Yeah, but kind of still, unfortunately, still looking. I was still looking kind of price to go a bit lower. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in here. Looking at the currency indices, starting with the yen index. So this was a nice move to the upside. We saw then the break. This is kind of a nice, interesting move in here. Break the upside, come back, basically retesting this level again. This could be seen a little bit more of a bullishness. In here again, I still like this level. Eventually, potentially to look for sales. We did manage to go kind of make this move to the downside in here. Is this the final destination? Not entirely sure. Maybe this was just something to retrace, potentially to find new selling orders to push lower, instead of maybe this being the bottom for price to skyrocket from here. Not entirely sure if that's the case, but we do have now a new opportunity in here that price can basically respect and move higher, but I would definitely prefer to see maybe this yen index to go a little bit more to the upside before maybe getting into another level in here to look for shorts. Yeah, so we'll see what's going to happen in here, but interesting moves as well on the yen pairs. And then we have the euro index, which managed to continue to respect that top within the supply, and we start having VHV price. It was the same kind of range that there was with the euro dollar and the pound dollar. Basically, price now feeling this opportunity. This one here may have gotten into this structure, and now price just feel the range. It can even break it, which is kind of going below this low in here, and potentially can even start opening the door to go even further down. Yeah, we'll see. Not entirely the best kind of move when so much compression going on. It can easily then kind of just break through, but so far maybe still have this value in here that price can keep respecting. Yeah, okay, this is the indices and also the FX indices and a little bit of crypto. So let's take a look now at the individual currency pairs. Starting with euro dollar. It's exactly the same thing. Okay, guys, it's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the level that we're looking for, where price also broke that top. Okay, so price broke this top in here once and then fake out the level again, and now it's reacting from this. Then it reacts from this supply. I was actually looking for price to go and fake out this level, to be honest. One last time. Yeah, this was then the Fed. Yeah, I was looking for price to fake out this this top in here, but it actually it went all the way to yeah, the most important was to take this one. Then not really sure if you took that one as well. So yeah, we're looking for that because then after that we do have, or could have, VHV price making this move, filling out this level, basically coming back into this demand zone that we have, and where price basically is approaching or reacting from on Friday. So yes, from this extreme, it's going to be quite interesting to see what's going to happen. Okay, it's going to be quite interesting to see if price by any chance keeps holding this level and starts selling from here, or if it's actually going to go further down and getting something, trying to go into a different level in here. So that's going to be quite interesting. We do have a small fake out that happened in there on Friday. Price kind of broke slightly above this top, but then kind of just continued to push lower. Literally the confirmations indeed, there was this break to the downside as well. Price kept respecting this level. In here, I was actually looking to see if this one would go a little bit higher before the sell. It never happened. So price, and there you go. That was the one that was also overnight, as you can see in here, kind of 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, whatever, when price actually starts moving to the downside. So yeah, not exactly the best timing to look for a trade in there. Yeah, this was basically after the FOMC. So yes, the same way that potentially dollar index can continue to go a little bit more to the upside, euro dollar can definitely continue to push a little bit more to the downside, and maybe this top in here, maybe the level where price can continue to respect. Maybe price breaks that wall first, and then maybe find something in here to look for the continuation. Who knows if that's in play in here? Something to keep an eye on at this point. It depends how the market's going to open in a bit, and where price actually is going to be at around the London session tomorrow, just before the news, which again may create some volatility. The bigger picture, in my opinion, it still remains the same. Okay, So I'm still looking for the euro dollar to continue to push to the upside in the bigger picture, but in the lower time frame, I'm looking for price to go slightly lower. Actually, I'm just curious to see how price may react from this extreme at this point. Looking at the pound dollar, so that was the one as well. So unfortunately, that was the trend that we were looking for. I mentioned several times I was looking for the pound dollar to go above this top in here. Okay, so that's exactly what I was looking for. At least if I count that top, and then it actually started to react a little bit more into this this next level. So I was looking also in here, and then this is kind of the previous one. So one of those two, it's basically what I was looking for. And price, if not mistaken, reacted from the one underneath, but it picked out that top. So that happened with FOMC. The price kept respecting this traction here, and finally went up, picked out that level, and there you go. Somewhere around this level could have been kind of a good level for a trade. So you can see it's 5 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, good PI. That was exactly what I was looking for. And then what we had? Like we had this demand zone was basically one of the last ones that was still fresh. So price still managed to respect it, and then it just had the continuation to the downside. Again, another move that gets triggered at around 3 a.m. in the morning, and then finally price just follow through in there, and it continues to move to the downside. So achieving basically the next target that you were aiming for, which is somewhere around here. So there you go, pound dollar, filling this range in here. This was already something that you're looking for. Price had already broken a few lows on the way up. So that was, this is literally what I'm looking for. I'm looking for price to break lows as it goes up. So because that becomes quite interesting, because everything in here basically gets weaker, and then eventually price turns and it just goes to eventually the previous extreme. So that's exactly what I was looking for. That's what played out in here. Yeah, from there, kind of a continuation here, and then maybe perhaps there could have been another opportunity in there. What can I expect now? Well, first and foremost, let's see how price may react from here, and if it continues to push higher or not, or if it starts breaking and starts opening the door for price and the pound in this case to move a little bit further down. Attention to this level in here. This can be quite interesting. Maybe price already actually reacted from it, but this can be definitely an interesting zone. Let's see how price may react from here as well. Looking at the euro pound, also kind of basically feeling all this structure. So pushed a little bit more to the downside, and you'll see may have actually broken out these lows a little bit. It could eventually take us back into this zone, which means that we'll be feeling this range, which is something that we mentioned that could happen in here. The euro pound does like to range for a while. All right. Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar just dropped as well. I've been a little bit disconnected with the Aussie dollar and New Zealand as well. So a few weeks ago, that was a pair that I was literally on my radar, but for a while now, I kind of disconnected in March. I didn't really pay too much attention to it. So we kept respecting this destruction here. It's a nice reaction from that level. Maybe this can be seen a little bit as an engulf to the downside, so maybe that's something to consider now that price respected that level, which means that maybe this Aussie dollar could eventually aim to go towards more of this level in there. So that's something to consider. I never really liked these lows, to be honest, in terms of where they were reacting. I think there was maybe more room to the downside. Maybe price at this point just wanted to go all the way back to the extreme and collect the remaining of the selling orders in there. Then price went down, reacted, still respected this supply level, and continued to push lower. With the potential to go maybe at least closer to something in here. Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting one to see what's going to happen. Maybe Euro Aussie and Pound Aussie, maybe they have been reacting slightly better. So this was a nice one as well. So Euro Aussie, yeah, that level we talked about it. Potentially we can continue to go even higher. Okay, this was maybe a breakout structure with price now maybe just retracing back into this previous level support resistance to find some more buy orders and go. Price actually, I would prefer to see price going actually a little bit more to downside. So we fake out this point here, but perhaps we could go a little bit lower before moving higher. So that's something to pay attention at around this level. From the top, maybe there's still also something to pay attention. Depends on the PI, how price actually may react from there. Of course, there's maybe more room to the upside, but this could also be a potential level where it could have a little bit more of a move to the downside from here. So yeah, we'll see what will happen in here. And just checking Pound Aussie as well. So Pound Aussie has been a bit more bullish, so price respected really nice with this demand zone. So therefore continue to the upside. Now finally take out these highs in here. We are still reacting really close to this top, which eventually price can go even higher. Okay, price may even can go definitely higher. But for now, good fake out of this structure. We'll see how price may react from here and what kind of PI we may have. But yeah, if the Aussie dollar does want to continue to push forward, maybe this Pound Aussie may wants to go a little bit more to the upside to keep an eye on. Looking at the yen pairs, okay, so taking into consideration what we talked about the yen index, which actually moved to the upside and maybe can continue to go a little bit more to the upside as well. So I'm going to be, yeah, I'm interested to see what's going to happen here. So overall, longer term, maybe price still wants to go lower, okay, after the break of this move to downside in here on the $dollar yen. But since then, kind of we started to correct a little bit. Now we kind of have also this trend line here. Price maybe still respecting this level. We kind of try to move a bit more to downside in here. So this also goes into consideration what the dollar index is doing. That's why maybe it's a bit more in a range in here. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what kind of more opportunities we're going to have at around this level. Maybe in here can find new buy orders, and then we'll see how price may react when it gets a little bit closer into this level in here. So yeah, personally, I'm not really sure what to expect at this point in here on the pound, on the dollar yen. Maybe a bit higher to start looking for sales, or maybe some longs if price kind of comes back closer to the lows once again. Bigger picture, we did manage to break below this low, which means that maybe price eventually can or wants to retest more of this structure in here. So maybe bigger picture still a bit more bearish than bullish, but maybe you can go closer to this something in there before moving down. Maybe faking out this trend line in here. Euro yen moving a bit more to downside, so nice move after this big push as well in the last 2 weeks. Price came all the way up in here, and then you start finding some bearishness. Okay, this was actually a nice move again overnight, and then the BOG, and there you go. Basically filling the space, basically filling out the space in here. Can even go a little bit more further down. Price is kind of respecting all this above bottom in here. But it could continue to move a bit more to the downside. At this point, it's in the middle, so I'm not really interested in looking for anything. There's maybe opportunity here, there's maybe opportunity in there to look for a short, but now more of waiting and see. But yes, price can definitely continue. Okay, could continue to go move lower. We'll see. Pound yen. So we took the high as well, potentially continuation to the upside. But now maybe could go a little bit lower. Also interested in here. Like a lot of these moves in here or this demand zone that already been reacted from. Maybe this is one of the last fresh ones. So below these potential lows in here. At the top, okay, price managed to respect this level, also in alignment to the previous high in here, but definitely this can be seen as an engulf to the upside, which means that this pound yen eventually can find some more bullishness. Dollar CAD, well, can you say with dollar CAD? So dollar CAD has been also ranging at around this level. Basically, you can see how many times price bounced around here. Now it's doing basically the same thing on the right side. So we respected perfectly these levels, looking for potential sells. To be honest, I think maybe price could finally break below these lows. What you have in here is which you kind of this range in here. Price kind of already tried to go lower. Now it's kind of retesting this structure in here. So we'll see if it continues. Yeah. So we'll see. To be honest, it's a bit hard to see exactly where to for sales in here. Testing on this level, maybe, or we just let price maybe go higher at this point. Euro CAD also reacting. So where is this reacting from? Okay, from this top in here. So it's definitely start finding some bearishness. Price can definitely retest all the way this previous level of support resistance. In this case, resistance that can lead into support, basically potentially to fill out this. So there was kind of a good reaction already with this top in here into that zone. So and then you fake out also this level. So yeah, good liquidity grabs basically as price continues to push lower in this case. Yeah, even that one as well. So that's an interesting one. Potentially price could go and fill all of this. Then looking at pound CAD, it kind of goes into the same category. Price reacting from whatever back in 2016 around Brexit, and then it started kind of creating a little bit of this level. Nice reaction here. I think this was with the Fed as well, kind of spike there or something like it, or maybe Bank of England, and then basically just falling through. Basically, this can be also seen as an engulf to the downside. So yeah, there you go. Like nice little move. Definitely price can retest this level one more time before continue, but potentially can feel all this price in here. And that's a little bit more of where I'm going to be looking for in here on pound CAD. Then we have dollar franc Swiss, which is still bouncing from this level. So we went a little bit lower, fake out these lows, and now we found some bullishness. Also after the decision to cut rates again. So we'll see how price may continue to behave within this level. And we start looking into gold, which found a new top. For now, nice move in here. Starting a little bit of break of structure, fake out in there. And there you go with the turn. Can definitely, again, this is just a test at this point. It was just a reaction now from this previous structure. You can even eventually go into this level as well, but for now you're finding a little bit more of bullishness, but curious to see how price may react from around this level, or if price eventually is going to just challenge again and go higher. We are still trading literally at above the 3000. Basically this point here worked as a support at around the 3000 mark, 299.67, something like that. So it's around the 3k where we found this level of support at this point. So yeah, that's maybe a key psychological number that the investors and the market participants are going to be looking for, the 3k. kind of to hold it above or below. Same thing with 100k on Bitcoin. And then oil, which continue to move a bit more to the upside. I'm curious to see how price may react from this level. Again, bigger picture. We did manage to fake out this wall, perhaps to break the wall and showing more indication to go further down. Yeah, so let's see how price may react from here. So I'm curious. I have kind of this level marking here. As price starts to approach, you do have quite a few highs in here, and could kind of collect liquidity and then move down. But also, if you do take that trade, it doesn't really mean that I'm ready to do this. Nope, not exactly. Do have this level of support resistance in here. Maybe one of the first targets before price continue to move higher. But yeah, somewhere around here you may have some reaction in here on. Because we do have kind of already one break and now another one. It's kind of a good retracement in here. Price kind of respects something. So we are looking. Yeah, it starts showing some breaks in here. That's it. Perfect. So that's what we have for this week. To summarize, dollar index potentially to continue to move higher. So dollar index potentially to continue to push more to the upside, and then after we took this level in here to see if there's going to be more bearishness or not, or if price eventually is going to go back in here towards the 105, maybe 0.5, or even slightly higher. So we'll see what's going to happen tomorrow. But I do still like this structure in the sense of it's going to fake out and potentially come back into it. Maybe retest this level again, and basically just flip into the euro dollar and pound dollar, and it's basically the same thing as well. In there, but the opposite. So initial potential sales, and then maybe we can start looking for longs. US indices also quite curious to see what will happen around this level. Potentially some bullishness at around these lows. Nasdaq actually would like to see again price breaking the lows first, so nothing really change. DAX is still looking for potential price to come back into the highs again, potential for more sales, at least some more selling pressure, and maybe continue to trade around this level in here. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on. It's going to be interesting to see if you're going to kind of respect the breakout strategy that we saw in here or not. But again, I would like to see price actually going lower first before looking for that. And then you take gold. Of course, gold can always go higher, can always eventually take all-time highs. Silver was an interesting one as well. I didn't really show silver, but silver was an interesting one. It actually showed a reversal pattern in there, reacting from a good level on the left side. So basically fake out finally this stop in here and reacting a little bit from this quasi model in there, and then it created a pattern as well within this level. So this was a nice one in here, broke lows, fake out, and then kind of into this structure, broke that wall again, and just to trade towards this level again. But as you can see, silver is going even lower, which can also continue eventually to could continue to push forward. Yeah, we'll see how price may react eventually from this. Yeah, and then oil as well. We'll see how price may react from here. Right, that's it. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you again next week. Subscribe to the channel, put any likes. Like if you're watching this afterwards, let me know what kind of trades you are looking for this week, and what kind of content you would like me to also see doing more often. And yeah, good luck. Have a good finish of the month, and yeah, stay in control of your risk and execute your trades and follow your strategy. Bye bye. Thank you very much, guys. Bye bye. Obrigado.